All right, guys, I can finally make this build video happen today because, you know, that the maintenance marathon that was going on for the past couple of days, I just couldn't do anything. And after that, I've been getting a lot of deltas. Let me know if you're getting deltas too. You know, it's crazy. I was just on a roll of killing NPCs and then I got a delta. That's pretty sad. I thought it was a good footage. But anyways, I'm gonna do this build video today. Now one's gonna stop me. No one's gonna stop me from making this today. Hopefully, I guess. Now, you guys requested this, so here it is. So when I made the build video last time, you know, with the Foundry Bulwark and the Armor Regen, a lot of you guys said, like, what if you can just add, like, Protection from Elite and Armor Regen together? A lot of you guys said, like, that's impossible. Don't worry, I made it possible. That's literally one of my favorite builds that I do use all the time. I did make some tweaks and changes because the last time I made that was like 2.5 years ago. So yeah, we have some changes here and we're going to be using the builds. Absolutely going to slap. You have literally a lot of survivability. You're not dying. You're not dying at all. Like rogues, you know, hunters, it doesn't matter. You're not dying. You're perfectly fine. You're regenerating your armor. You are, you know, completely protected from those elite guys. And not to mention you have crack damage. So let me show you, yeah, what I mean by it. All right, so this is the first variant I'm actually using right now. Now, when I say variant, obviously I meant for the weapons because, you know, I will be changing the weapons and the weapons going to be the very important thing here for this build, and it will change your playstyle. Depends on what type of weapon you're actually choosing. I will go through a lot of them. Don't worry about that. And for the builds, it's going to be staying pretty much the same. But you can do some changes here and there if you don't have few pieces here and there. I'll talk about that as well. Don't worry. So first of all, the specialization. We're using the survivalist specialization here, which, you know, gives us 10% of protection from elite. So that's the reason. And you can use any other specialization if you want, no problem. But I also chose one of the other reason as well, which is the, you know, the Seeker Mind. The Seeker Mind, the Mender Seeker Mind. It's going to heal us as well. So it's a nice healing going on. It's a cute little Seeker Mind chasing you around. You know, it's nice. And it basically works like Catharsis mask at home, you know, so that's why. Now for the weapons, so I'm using the same SMG just like the previous build, which is the Cold Relations SMG. Comes with the perfect strain talent, so we have, you know, really good crit damage going on with this, like 80%. And again, you will be taking your target down before you can just completely proc the strain, I would say. Now, if you don't like a weapon with slow RPM like 700, you can definitely use something like the Dark Winter, which is pretty much my secondary weapon, and it comes with the perfect killer talent. Now, remember this, you have to get a crit kill for this killer to be active, which is, you know, 50% crit damage. So yeah, keep that in mind. You can also use something like a CMPX or the Apartment with the perfect measure talent, you know, or, you know, close in personal talent on just a normal CMPX. If you want to use a sword rifle, I would suggest Carbine 7. It's a great choice. You know, it beams, like, it literally has no recoil. It's a very good weapon, so you can definitely use that. If you want, you can also use the FAMAS, but Carbine 7 just works really good. So these are the high ends you can go for, and or any other high ends, but just stick with these things and it'll perform really well. Now, why are we using high end? Well, because we're using the pistol here, the exotic, which is a busy little bee again, because this improves our damage really high. Like, it does, really. So if you don't know what busy little bee does, well, let me tell you. So first of all, you just need to fire this weapon to a target. Every time you do that, you mark them, and each target you mark, you're going to gain 20% of weapon damage from each target. Yes, 20%. So if you can mark up to 5 targets, that's 100% weapon damage. Now, I'm not saying that stay there and mark targets, but I'm also saying that just stay there and mark targets, because you can, because you have a lot of survivability and you're pretty much going to tank the shot, so why not? But again, if there's one enemy, for example, there's a boss, you don't have to worry about it. Just, you know, tag the boss, get that 20% weapon damage, swap your weapon, and just shred him. That's all. Like, even if there's one enemy, just don't hesitate to use the pistol. It's not like you have to use the pistol when there's more than 3 or 4 enemies. No. Just, even if there's one enemy, just hit it, swap it, damage him, done. Okay, so that's it. That's the setup. Now, if you want to use not high end, if you want to use exotic, what do you want to do? Well, exotic weapons such as Chameleon will be a great choice, because it's going to give you, you know, 20% crit chance, 50% crit damage, and 90% of weapon damage, which is pretty much having like a all red build into the weapon, basically like 6 core red attributes, you know. And you also get crazy reload speed with it. So it's a great choice. You can keep this active all the time, or at least one of them active all the time. So yeah, it's a great choice here. Now, another exotic you can use is going to be the Scorpio. Scorpio is absolutely cracked for this build because you have too much survivability. And Scorpio is going to stun lock the NPCs with its status effect ability, right? And at that point, you're just basically bullying them. Like, that's all I can say. You can take the Scorpio in this build into the heroic countdown, and you can bully the hunters. You know, you can do that. It's pretty fun. Now, remember, when you're building with the Scorpio, just make sure you have a lot of crit chance, because using the Scorpio, you'll lose a lot of crit chance. So keep that in mind. Now, other exotics you can use going to be Pestilence. So if you want to be that guy who just stand there and go like that with the LMG, if you want that feeling, you could do that. Plague of the Outcast will tick at 639k-ish, something like that. At least for my build, that's what it's doing. Your number might be different. If you have expertise, it's going to be higher, obviously. And your crit's going to be different as well. Now, that's just Plague of the Outcast damage, by the way. We didn't even count the crits. The crit's going to be like 500k. So that's like 1.1 million with this weapon. So that's pretty good. You could just do that if you're interested on it. Now, other exotic that you can use, that will be my go-to exotic to choose for this build, going to be the Ravenous. The Ravenous is just best in slot. That's all I can say. For this build, it's a best in slot because it gives you damage, a lot of damage, explosion damage. That explodes like 5 million. That's a lot, okay? 5 million explosion damage is a lot. And it also gives you survivability because you get bonus armor on demand. Yes, you can. And when you're using the Ravenous, I would suggest not to use the Obliterate on the chest piece. Use Intimidate because you can keep Intimidate active all the time by the help of bonus armor from Ravenous and, you know, Memento's bonus armor. So Intimidate will be the go-to choice there instead of Obliterate, I would say. Or just go Glass Cannon, you know, you could do that. So yeah, it's a good choice. Ravenous is going to be perfect, but I didn't recommend it before because you might not have it. You know, it's a raid weapon. You can also get it from Dark Zone, but, you know, just you may not have it. So that's why I didn't say it. But it's going to be pretty much the best in slot for this. Now, as for the gears, well, I'm using the Gilligard mask, which is Chill Out mask, and it's available kind of right now. Like, it's a limited edition kind of thing, I guess. So you just get to kill that loot goblin, and you will get it from him. He's going to drop you this mask. The reason why I'm using this mask, because, you know, Gilligard, like I said, 5% total armor. So more armor means more armor regen. Plus it gives you, you know, 12% crit damage. And you have that 2 mod slots, which I put protection from elite here. You can go crit damage if you want, like crit damage, you know, go crazy. You can do that. As for the chest piece, I am using Bellstone, which is 1% of armor regen. It's given us. And we have Obliterate. Like I said, if you're using Ravenous, go Intimidate, or even Scorpio, go Intimidate, because those are slow fire rate weapon and you won't be able to proc Obliterate constantly with this, you know. So yeah, keep that in mind. And obviously we have protection from elite mod. Now for the holster, I chose, you know, the Grupo Sombra because, you know, 15% crit damage there, and that's that. Now for the knee pads, I'm using the Fox's Spray here. It gives us, you know, 8% damage to target out of cover. And if you're using the Ravenous, it's even better because you get that 10% rifle damage from this. If you don't have it, you can use a Sokolov, you know, because you're using SMG, yeah, or Fenris if you're using, you know, assault rifle. And for the gloves, I chose the Improvised Gear. Now, a lot of you guys are confused probably what is Improvised Gear. Well, you can get it from crafting it. You can't farm it. In the crafting bench, you can craft this gear. It can drop with armor core, weapon damage core, and, you know, skill tier core. So get a armor or weapon damage, I would say, with the crit chance of crit damage, and change the other one and put a protection from elite mod, and you're good to go. That's the reason why we're using the Improvised Gear, because, you know, we have the mod slot, so we can add that protection from elite and basically just take our protection from elite to up to 70%. If you count that, we have 70%. Now, if you have 13% of protection from elite mods, well, then you have 75%. The cap is 80%, but, you know, we don't want to hit that cap. I mean, if you want, you can do that, but, you know, 70% is not bad. It's really good. Like, we're really not dying from enemies. You could just go and hug the outcasts, you know, the suicide bombers. You're not going to die at all. Like, they will, but you won't. Like, yeah, that's all I can say. Take your friends with you, you know, just go there and hug him, like this bombers, and you'll see the fun. So, yeah, definitely give it a try with this setup, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. It's a very, very fun build. It's really, really fun. The backpack, obviously, is going to be Memento because, you know, armor regen, bonus armor, weapon damage. It's just best. It's a best in slot. Memento is just best in slot. Pretty much on any build. Slap in, it's going to carry your survivability. So, yeah, definitely try it out. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then.